Are you struggling to find your path to pivot from academia to entrepreneurship? On this new episode of Papa PhD Gold, Dr. Kiki Sanford shares the details of her journey from neurophysiology research to science communication. She opens up about the twists, challenges, and breakthroughs of building a fulfilling career on her own terms. So, if you're ready to transform setbacks into stepping stones and to craft your own unique path, listen now to get inspired and take action. Welcome to Beyond the Thesis with Papa PhD, your weekly inspiration for post-PhD career development. With me, David Mendes. What steps brought you from your PhD to Twist, to This Week in Science?
After my PhD, I finished and I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. I'm going to be a science communicator. I'm going to try and this is before science communicator was really even a term or a word. It was like this nascent idea. People were starting to use it, but it wasn't really adopted yet. I remember going, what am I? Who am I? How do I describe myself to people? And yeah, thank goodness science communicator has grabbed a hold. But what I started doing is I started going to conferences and networking and trying to meet a larger community of people doing a similar thing. So podcasting. I no longer going to the science conferences, the research conferences so much. I started going to the podcasting conferences. And doing the podcasting conferences, I started meeting a whole bunch of people in that field. And again, with mentors being so important, I met a guy named Alex Lindsay, and he worked on a podcast called This Week in Tech. And so I was at this podcasting conference and I saw his name tag with his podcast name. And I went up to him and I said, hey, you're This Week in Tech? I'm This Week in Science. And he said, hey, and we started talking, and that led to a collaboration doing a video program. And this is right at the beginning of iTunes starting to offer video podcasts. YouTube wasn't even a huge deal yet. And we did a series called Food Science, and we created 14 videos related to various aspects of food science. It was super fun. And along that way, that was again getting to use my video production skills. I was writing scripts. I was doing the hosting. So I learned how to do more on-camera work through that.
Okay.
And in that effort, he introduced me to the host of and the founder of This Week in Tech, Leo Laporte. And Leo Laporte then, this is kind of step by step, Leo Laporte said, hey, do you want to come do some stuff with Twit? And said, hey, that'd be great. And so I started doing some work with This Week in Tech, commentating on certain things, doing a little bit more tech reporting instead of specifically science. So Twist was a podcast. We were still at KBBS doing the radio show. That's it. So, but because I had finished, I moved back to San Francisco. I was no longer, so I kind of bounced back and forth between Davis and San Francisco. And I was like, okay, we got to keep Twist going. The podcast format is amazing. I love live radio. I love live. How can we keep that happening? And so because I had met Leo, he was doing live streaming on his Twit video network. And I asked him if we could use his network to broadcast This Week in Science. And so we made the move from live on KDVS Davis to live on Twit. And we became a video stream, a live video program. And I'd take the audio and then I would send the audio to KDVS and I would put the audio up as a podcast. And so we started distributing in these different ways. I kept working on different video shows and then expanded my work on the Twit network. And I started doing an interview program called Dr. Kiki's Science Hour, which I did about 100 episodes, just over 100 episodes, I believe. And Twist was going the whole time. And then at a certain point, Twit was expanding, but then they decided they really needed to they needed to pare themselves down. And so they got rid of all third-party produced programs, which meant Twists had to find a new home. We had to find a new platform. Google Hangouts was just becoming a thing. We took advantage of Google Hangouts and started broadcasting Twists to YouTube Live.
Live to YouTube.
And then this summer, Google Hangouts went away and we found a new platform. And now we are using a platform called StreamYard to broadcast to YouTube. But we have visions now of expanding to Twitch. And I'm trying to develop the funding model to be able to expand the number of programs that we offer. And that's where I am right now, because I want to go back to doing more interview shows. So now I'm looking outward at doing more production myself and expanding Twists. But Twists just did our 740th estimated podcast episode. I mean, that's estimating that we started officially podcasting on iTunes in 2005, and basing it on about 50 episodes a year. And our estimate of about where we are, we could hit 800 next year.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're super excited about that. But I mean, in reality, we've been pretty much nonstop since 99, 2000. So
it's huge. And now you're telling me your story, and I'm just starting to get this picture of how much you've had to learn in this, because in this domain of producing content, of dealing with distribution platforms. How did you go about? Are you self-taught in all of this? Were there, apart from the AAS program that you went to?
Fellowship, yeah.
Yeah, the Mass Media Fellowship. Apart from that, was there other training that you felt was necessary that you get to be able to step it up in terms of, taking grasp of these technologies? Or how did you go about getting it?
So all of it, I am self-taught. I've paid attention to people. So all of the editors I've ever worked with, I watched them as they were editing. I paid attention to what they were doing and asked questions as we were setting up cameras and lights to do the shoot, even though I wasn't the camera person or the lighting person or the sound person. I paid attention and I asked questions. Every time I've done something, I try to be involved and engaged in what I'm doing, and not just, I've really tried to not just be focused on my one little part of a project, to pay attention to how it fits in with the other aspects of the project as a whole. And so in doing that now, I've self-taught. I'm not the best editor, but I have been editing my own audio for years. I edit video now. I can work as the production tech. I can set up the sound and I can make a recording. I can be a single individual going out, recording an interview, come back, edit it, and put out a final product. I taught myself how to do that. The things that I have also taught myself how to do, which I think I gained more experience in as a graduate student, are the business management aspects. Because I'm still terrible at time management. I am a scatterbrain, and I've always been one of those people who work great under pressure. And it would be better if I could organize myself better, because then I wouldn't be like a little ball of nerves all the time. But I do think that a lot of how I've been able to organize what I do organize is the skills that I learned while I was in graduate school, in starting a project, finishing a project, writing it up, all the project management skills that go so unacknowledged.
Yeah, that's one of the big things that I like to try and dispel. One of the myths or the popular beliefs about doing a PhD is that if you don't follow into academia, then you don't have skills. You will have lost that time because you didn't develop real world skills, let's say. And it's totally not true. And I'm super happy that you're mentioning that, because it's not everyone that can hop onto a 3-year, 5-year, 7-year project without sweating it and taking it to the last stage and defending and concluding it and presenting it. So definitely, I agree 200%.
And I think the other really unacknowledged skill is, I was able to pick things up and still try to pick new things up, even though I have this like, oh my God, this is another thing I have to learn. This technology is, because technology is always moving forward. Oh, I have to learn this new skill. I have to do this new thing. That is grad school. Every time you want to add a new technique to your studies to be able to ask a certain question, you learn something new. I mean, it is this mindset you learn while a student that you can always learn something.
Thank you for listening to this new episode of Season 6 of Beyond the Thesis with Papa PhD. Have a question about this interview? Want to leave a comment on the podcast? Have someone you want to recommend to be interviewed? Go to speakpipe.com/PapaPhD and leave me a voice note. Just hit the big record button and leave me an up to 90-second message. I listen to all my messages and I consider all of them for a feature on future episodes. So it's speakpipe.com/PapaPhD. Hope to hear from you soon.